With a few hours to spare, I thought it was time to get the rod out and go and try and catch some perch. I have decided to focus on 2 different locations over this winter, and with Wroxham being the closest one, that's where I headed. I have spent the last 2 sessions at Wroxham fishing the railway bridge with varying degrees of success. I heard a rumour, via YouTube, that Wroxham Road Bridge is not only home to a lot of perch, but also home to a lot of big perch too, with some in excess of £2. Getting the swim beside Wroxham Road Bridge, opposite the American Diner restaurant, is tough as it is very popular and I have not managed to have a go there to date. Today, Lady Luck was on my side, and whilst walking the banks of the River Bure in Wroxham Riverside Park, I noticed the road bridge was free, so I hot-footed it up there and set up. As you can see, this isn't a quiet swim, and whilst you don't get many people keep walking past, there is the constant road noise. I have never been too bothered about traffic noise, however, I do have an angling buddy that does, and I know for a fact she would not like this swim one bit. I'll be quiet for a bit and let you hear for yourself what the traffic noise is like. Other anglers aside, another thing that makes this swim busy is the wildlife. The birds, especially the swans and the geese, seem to love this section of the River Bure, and they are constantly swimming from one side of the bridge to the other. If the river weren't narrow, this wouldn't be too much of a problem, but the river is narrow and the bird life takes up a lot of it. Snagging and getting hooked up with swans is a heart in the mouth and scary experience, and something I avoid at all costs. I have managed to have a bit of a hookup with a swan several years ago, and it didn't end up very well. Nowadays, I steer clear from the swans and will reel in to make sure I don't tangle up with them. As I'm sure you've already guessed, I'm freelining worms again today. Strictly speaking, it's not freelining because I'm using an SSG shot on the leader to add a bit of casting weight and to get the bait to sink a little quicker, but it's pretty damn close. I never realised how cocooned you are in this swim and, other than the noise and the bird life of course, cut off from the rest of the outside world. Boats are a problem for anglers on the Norfolk Broads, and fishing this swim you don't see any boats coming from the other side of the bridge until it's too late. You can't see the boats approaching, and, because of the road noise, you can't hear them coming either. The boats appear from nowhere, and if your line is out in the middle of the river, you're going to get hooked up. This is not a problem this time of year because there is little boat traffic, but in the summer, Wroxham is rammed with boats and tourists, and I'm guessing it's a bit of a nightmare. Here's a few of the perch I caught during my session at Wroxham Road Bridge. Based on this session, I can't deny the perch are here, but I'm struggling to find any big ones. I've always thought that where there are small perch, there are large ones too, so I've spent a couple of hours fishing through the small perch in a bid to hook into a big one that must be lurking around. Unfortunately, the big ones never turned up, and after catching several small perch and being very happy with them, I decided to venture off into Riverside Park in search of some of the bigger ones. It turns out that whilst fishing beside the road bridge, the wind picked up somewhat, and I didn't even notice. I think I found the best sheltered swim in Wroxham, so I'll have to keep that in mind for future sessions in bad weather. Other than the rail bridge, which is fully occupied today, the swims are open to the elements, and this is the best of a bad bunch. This spot isn't exactly sheltered, but it's not as open to the elements as the others. This swim is the one where I caught my first perch this season, and also the swim where I hooked, and subsequently lost, a perch on the Berkeley Gulp Fry lures. I know the perch hang around in this swim, I just hope they are big ones and that I can catch one. Other than a couple of small knocks and tugs that never materialised, this swim failed to produce a fish. The Riverside Park was full of other anglers today, and the choice of swims was limited, so after half an hour or so I decided to call time, pack up and head home. Overall, it has been a good and enjoyable session. I didn't catch a monster, but I caught a bend in the rod and landed a few perch, which is what it's all about.